Hi there, welcome to my channel. It would appear that I'm on the cusp of turning 30. I know that I look younger. That really means a lot, thank you. In celebration of this, I thought, what could I do on my channel? And I've seen a lot of videos where people post 30 things they've learned in 30 years. I watched Jenna Marble's one a few years back. But there's so many things I've learned in those 30 years that I couldn't possibly put them all into a video, and it was very hard to pick certain things. So instead, I've made a list of 30 things I've learned about myself as a person in 30 years. So let's get started. First up, after many years of trying for health reasons, dieting reasons, sugar addiction reasons, I have learnt that I can in no way give up chocolate for any length of time. I've discovered that I don't like people that much. I think it was instilled in me at a very young age. I just don't like people. I get terrible road rage, and I'm not just talking like, oh, I flip a finger at someone or I swear. It's atrocious. I growl at other cars. I actually growl. It's a bit of a problem, to be honest. Probably something that needs to be addressed. I have never been and will never be a social butterfly. I can't be one of those people that's just all over the place at social events and greets everybody in a friendly manner. Like, I'm friendly, don't get me wrong, I'm friendly, I'm polite, but I can't be that person. And I've tried to be in the past, and I think to myself, I would love to be like that, but I've come to the realisation that that's never going to be me. I like to reminisce about the good old days way too much. Now, I know I'm not even that old, but I have to jump back in time quite often, and I just think through things that have happened and things that I've done, but I do it in an unhealthy amount. I cope with my anxiety in specific ways. So one of them is what I've mentioned earlier. I like to eat sugary, horrible treats that are really bad for you, like chocolate. And the other way is that I have a condition called trichotillomania, which is compulsive hair pulling. Please feel free to Google it if you wish. I can't be bothered to explain what it is now. I can seem quite prudish in my views towards sex. Now, I'm not one of those people who think it's completely unacceptable to have sex before marriage, because otherwise my 2 children wouldn't be here. I don't have a great opinion on one-night stands. I think people that do it often and with complete and utter strangers that they've just met is a little bit odd. I like to keep my talents private. Now, this sounds a little bit dodgy. What I mean is that I have things that I may not be talented in them, but I believe it's a talent for myself. I like to write books. I like to do this, for example, but I don't go around telling everyone about it because, I don't know, I think I just feel like people will turn around and go, actually, you're no good at that. Hence why I don't tell anyone, because I don't want them to critique me and then crush all my dreams. I have always liked to be the best at things. When I was at school, I was quite competitive with certain things without letting it be known. So if I didn't do the best at something, I'd get quite upset and quite offended, and I'd think, that's not fair. As I've gotten a little bit older, I'm far more willing to cut toxic people out of my life. Now, my circle in terms of family and friends is very small. Very small. Like, we see very few people, my little family. And years ago I probably would have hung on to these people just so I feel like I've got someone, you know. But as I've gotten older and certain things have happened, I've thought, actually, you know what? Off you fuck. I'm the type of person that likes to make other people laugh. I think I've always been like this. So even in a bad situation, I'm the kind of person that would like to make a joke out of it. Oh, your dad's just died. Well, he probably went because he's sick of seeing you, eh? Pestering him all the time. Probably a little bit uncalled for, that sort of thing. But yeah, I still like to make jokes about bad times because, do you know what? Sometimes if you don't laugh, then you'll cry. And I think laughter is far better. I cope with loneliness by being creative. I've always been what you might perceive as quite lonely because I've not had many people around me. I've not necessarily had a lot of friends or gone out and done much all through adult life. So instead of rattling around the house on my own, I tend to fill my time with creative stuff. I've always done it since I was at school, so I didn't go out as much with friends. So I would sit down and I would write. That was my outlet. Now, this may be the Virgo in me, but I can be very judgmental. I'm usually good with first impressions. Like, if I get a vibe off someone that's not good, it's usually spot on and correct. But yeah, I can judge people quite harshly. I have very high expectations of people and situations and just life in general. So when they fail, I get really down about it and really pissed off. Now that I've hit such a grand old age, I've come to accept that there's no such thing as a dream body, especially not for me. It's not achievable for me, is basically what I mean. There's lots of people with dream bodies. I've come to accept that, do you know what, I'm not mad at what I've got. You know, I've got a few lumps, few bumps, a bit of back fat that's doing shit I did not agree to, and stretch marks because I've had kids. But do you know what? I don't necessarily hate what is in the mirror. I blame the clothes. They're the ones that make you look fat. I cope far better than I ever gave myself credit for. And by this, I mean in terms of grief, because my mum passed away last year, and I think because I'm the youngest sibling in the family, everybody probably correctly thought that I would crumble, that I would struggle, because I'm kind of isolated on my own. Everybody kind of lives elsewhere around the place, so they're not close by, and they probably thought, she's gonna really struggle. And you know what, I'm actually really proud of how I've coped with grief. Like I said earlier, I make jokes about stuff like that, so I've laughed my way through. That is how I've coped. I've come to accept the fact that I'm pretty much incapable of being spontaneous, because I'm such a pedantic, organised person, or I like to be. I think I am, I try to be. I like to have an organised brain, but I've got so much going on up there that it kind of just all falls apart. But basically, I can't be spontaneous. Like, it would blow my little mind if suddenly we went out for a drive to some random place we've never been and we had to find the way there and just... No. I have to plan the route, I have to know where I'm going, I have to know what I'm taking with me. No. Spontaneity is exhausting and I can't be doing with it. I just can't. I would love to be that person. I would love to be that person that just jumps on a plane and goes on holiday, but I can't deal with the stress and the anxiety. I'd have to be breathing into a bag the whole time. I've now come to accept that I will never be 100% comfortable in social situations, no matter what they are, even if they're around family. I don't know, like, some people can just breeze around a room, greet everybody. I have to be careful of what I say, because I put my foot in it quite a lot and I say silly things. So yeah, I am and probably always will be a worrier. I've always worried about pretty much everything in life. I can't help it. And the next one kind of links into what I've just said. I look way too far into the future sometimes. Sometimes I'll try and plan ahead and think far too far ahead into the future. Oh, 5 years time, what will we be doing? And I don't concentrate on the here and now, and I kind of want to stop doing it because it's taking away from the present and the nice little moments I should be enjoying. But I'm terrible for it. I'm thinking, well, how are we going to be there in 5 years if we're not doing this now? This has got to slot into place here, and we've got to make sure it all works out so that our master plan comes together. That is just a snippet of what it's like in my head, and it really bloody annoys me. The next one's probably quite bad actually, but I can hold very serious grudges. And you know what? Sometimes I'm not even willing to let them go. Like, even though I know it's not healthy to hold grudges, I do, because it reminds me of what people have done to make me feel that way, what people have done to make me sad or angry. And I like to remember it because I think I'm not falling for that again. I'm not letting anybody else do what that person did or offend me that way. So yeah, as unhealthy as it may seem, that is just my character. I'm very good at pretending that I like people. Now, this also sounds quite bad. I'm making myself sound like a terrible person. But basically, I think it comes from working in customer service, and I think a lot of customer service people will understand what I mean. But I can come across as very polite, very friendly, but actually I don't like you. During recent years, I've also found out that I'm a very broody person. Now, flashback about 10 or so years, I was adamant that I was never going to have children. I didn't like the thought of it. The thought of actually growing them and birthing them was just gross, and I was like, no, I'm not doing that to my body, no chance. And I just thought I was too selfish, and I am still selfish a little bit. But now I love the fact I've got kids, and every time I see a baby, I'm just like, oh my god, I want one, I want another one. And I've got a baby there with me. I've got my son, who's still a baby, and I'm just like, I want one, I want another one. I love them. I am extremely impatient. Now, I try and control this and I try to calm myself down a bit, but I am the most impatient person I know and I can't help it. This is another negative one, unfortunately. I feel like over recent years I've become an angrier person because of certain things that have happened in my life, certain people that have been in my life, hence the toxic people I've cut out. And now this sounds really negative again, like you shouldn't be an angry person, you should be all zen and calm. No, I kind of hold on to anger because I bottled up anger quite a lot when I was a teenager and when I was younger, and I feel like now it's a good time to release it. So I won't take shit off anybody anymore, and I think that's healthy, and I get angrier than I used to, but it cuts out a lot of the bullshit, you know. I just go straight to, oh, you've pissed me off, sort it out, rather than tiptoeing around on eggshells for years and then going, oh, by the way, you really offended me that time. Ooh. I am a bit of a quitter. I've given up on things far more times than I can count. So I left school sooner than I should have. I quit college the first time I went. I've quit like after school clubs and little hobbies and activities I used to do as a kid. And I think a lot of the time it's because I lost confidence or I didn't feel comfortable around the people, and I should have persevered and pushed through it. And I try not to be so much of a quitter anymore. But yeah, it's something that's caused me a lot of regret over the years, quitting so many things. So no more, no more. I sometimes rush to finish things just so I can say that they're done. So in terms of like little creative projects I'm doing, like sometimes I've rushed to finish videos and they're probably not 100% how I want them. Or if I'm writing, like I feel like the books I wrote years ago, I rushed to finish them all because I wanted to say, look, I've done this book and this book and this book, and they're all finished. And then I've gone back and read them and I'm not happy with them because I feel like it's not as good as it can be. And now I'm trying not to be so much of a rusher. I'm trying to just calm it down a bit and take my time, do things properly. But I'm still terrible for it. I just like things done. I like a big tick next to a task. Do you know what I mean? I often don't feel good enough for other people. This goes back years. Like I've never felt good enough for certain friends when I was at high school. I've never felt good enough to do certain things, like certain hobbies or activities. I've never felt like my art was good enough and all kinds of stuff like this. And I've still got it in the back of my mind whenever I do something as an adult. Oh, I might not be good enough to do that. And it's really annoying. I often get the fear of missing out. And this often happens, like I think most people, when you're scrolling through Facebook or any kind of social media and you see fabulous pictures of people on holiday and on fun days out or nights out, and you just think, oh, I wish I was doing that, my life's so boring. And I sometimes get like that, but once I am in that situation I'd feel uncomfortable or a bit like, I don't know, like I just want to be back home. But at the same time I kind of like the thought of being like, oh, you'll never guess where I've been. I kind of want to be that person that's like, oh, I went here last year, or I went to this place, it's really, really fun. But I just could never see myself doing it, if that makes sense, because number one, it's a pain to organise. Number two, it's a faff to drive, like I can't drive there. And number three, it's probably just too expensive, and you know, I'd rather sit at home and eat biscuits. And the last thing I've learned about myself, which is a little bit sad, I sometimes neglect to tell the people closest to me how much I love them and how much they mean to me. So, yeah. God, it's not you, it's not you. I'm talking about family and friends. Obviously it's not you. Like, I tell my little family, like my kids and my other half, oh, I love you all the time. But other family that help us out and are there for us, and I know they'll always be a part of our life, I sometimes don't tell them that I love them, and I should do really. And I didn't tell my mum enough before she passed away. She knew, but yeah, I need to do it more often. I need to just spread the love. Okay, that was quite cleansing, wasn't it? I'm a bit exhausted now though. I have discovered after reading this list that I have a lot of issues that need addressing. A lot of issues. Genuinely well done if you got to the end of this video. Just have a breather, have a lie down. I would definitely recommend that. And maybe I'll see you next time. Bye!